and welcome to FN White People, your friendly neighborhood white people. So today we're going to be talking about the top 10 stories in the news. So Harry, what do you got for us?
Well, um, straight out of the gate, I'm looking. I Googled top 10 news today. And what do you think is the first thing that popped up? No, for me, the first thing that popped up, hang on, I gotta adjust my level here because I project more than you do. Was the ICE shooting controversy. So, for those of you not aware, apparently you're living under a rock. There was a murder that took place in Minneapolis involving an ICE agent and a civilian by the name of Renee Good.
Yes.
Her name is Renee Good.
Yes.
Remember that fucking name. So, the story is she was blocking ICE agents from doing Gestapo bullshit that their Fuhrer douchebag J. Trump wanted them to do. And when confronted, she moved her vehicle to get out of their way. The douchebag that was in front of her, Jonathan Ross, then shot her and murdered her. Now, we live in a time where people will say that guy was defending himself because she was trying to run him over. But anybody who sees and watches the video can tell that she's trying to, and she's not like slamming on the gas. She's turning away from the officer to move her vehicle out of the way. He's standing in front of her, which, why are you standing in front of a fucking vehicle when you're trying to tell him to move out of the way? More on that in just a second. And she steps on the gas to move. She doesn't stomp on the gas. She just goes to move. Pop, pop, pop. Two of them hit her. Car or SUV that she's driving obviously doesn't have anybody in control of it anymore, slams into another vehicle. So what I've discovered is this Ross fella used to be a Border Patrol agent. And what they train Border Patrol agents to do is to stand in front of vehicles to instigate basically a reaction so that they can, quote unquote, justifiably fire upon the vehicle, and gives them an excuse basically to go, it was self-defense. No, you're a moron. Get the fuck out the goddamn way. In the words of a philosopher, a modern day one, move, bitch, get out the way. So then, yeah, you have, the Republicans, or the Trump stooges, as I call them, or the MAGA stooges, because there are some Republicans that are fighting back, and good for them. The MAGA stooges that are like, no, it was self-defense, blah, 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 and couch fucker Vance is spinning it in such a fashion that, no. Our police law enforcement, first off, they're not fucking actual police law enforcement. The amount of training these clowns get is 47 days before they're
ridiculous.
Before they're released into the wild to perform fascist duties. No, and this chuckle fuck already had the tactics of working in Border Patrol, so he has all the instigating tactics at his belt. So he already knows what to do. And you're telling me getting basically the equivalent of being punched, not a very good one, maybe, by hard enough by an inexperienced boxer or fighter to the hip, is worth taking a human life? Nah, get the fuck out of here.
I mean, yeah, because America. And I've got coworkers who have seen that footage and who've said that they acted in self-defense.
I've got coworkers too, and they also followed up with, we need to kill all the protesters. And those fucking people are...
But I've seen the footage, and it is clear. It is clear as fucking day that he steps in front of that moving vehicle.
Yeah, if you're telling a vehicle to move out of the way, why are you standing in front of it?
Because they're trained to. Which is idiotic. It is fucking idiotic. But it is what we have today.
It baffles me. It baffles me to no end that there are people in this country that want this shit. Like, it's clear that you lack empathy and compassion. And a society doesn't grow, doesn't build without empathy and compassion. Those are the cornerstones of a successful society.
Someone said to me literally yesterday or early this morning that the problem with the world is that we stopped caring about each other. We stopped caring if somebody dies. We stopped caring if somebody doesn't have health insurance, someone doesn't have food on the table. We stopped caring.
No, it's because we've been brainwashed. We've been brainwashed into believing that the elite billionaires and millionaires out there are going to take care of us. That
bullshit.
That they're going to, ride in on white horses and save the day by giving us their scraps. There's a George Orwell wrote a fantastic book, and if you haven't read it, you need to. It's called 1984.
Yes.
And it is
Big Brother. When
they get you to believe the lie and convince you that the lie is the truth, they have won. When you can look at a picture of a man who is not smiling and they tell you and convince you that that man is smiling, they have won.
I mean, we see that on a smaller scale with like domestic violence and gaslighting, with when they've convinced you that the bruises on your neck aren't real, or that you did that to yourself. They've won because they've broken you down to the point that you're willing to believe anything they say. The same is true of the government. They've broken you down to the point that you're willing to believe anything that they say.
And it's not just the government, it's fucking corporations too. Because if you do a little research, and it doesn't take, especially nowadays, it doesn't take a whole lot of research. Take, for example, excuse me, I've been woodworking today and I got dust and all kinds of other shit in my nose and in my throat and whatnot, so it's a little scratchy. But take, for example, the Kellogg Corporation. The Kellogg Corporation has convinced people that cereal is good for them. They say it's a part of a well-balanced breakfast. But if you ever examine those commercials where it says it's part of a well-balanced breakfast, there are other things on that table that are just way more healthier for you than that bowl of, excuse me, Cheerios. Because the cereal on its own is not good for you. It's grain. It's bread. And just eating that on its own is not good for you. And I know you're looking at me like right now, like, bitch, I got a couple boxes of Honey Nut Cheerios in the goddamn cupboard. And you're telling me that it's just not good for me?
I know it's not.
It's not.
I know it's not, but I do love my Honey Nut Cheerios.
Hey, I love me some Golden Graham Crunch. Golden Grahams, I love them. Hell, you know me. I eat garbage food sometimes because, you know what? Growing up being poor, I'll grab me a pack of bar-ass bologna or some can of Vienna sausages, and I'll chow the fuck down. Ramen. Top ramen, the little packets with seasoning. No, they're not good for you. I eat the shit out of it, though.
Yeah.
And I know when I eat it that I'm not eating healthy thing. It's food, it's sustenance, it's quick, it's easy, it's there, it's calories. But when they've convinced you that Honey Nut Cheerios is, lowers cholesterol and is good for your heart and things like that, is it?
Well, to bring it back to Minneapolis for a second, it's like I mentioned, like I related it to gaslighting. But the Minneapolis situation is the gaslighting of a nation. Trying to convince you that what you see on the screen isn't what you see on the screen. Because if you look at the footage, there's no denying what happened. There's no denying what happened if you look at the screen.
Yeah, if you look at the footage, I mean, and it doesn't matter.
They're trying to tell us that it was a justified shooting.
Yeah, no.
There's nothing about that is justified. That was the murder of an innocent woman by a police state, is what that was. And they want you to believe it was justified so that they can murder you too. Because how dare you step up and speak out against the Führer-in-Chief? The
Cheeto-in-Chief? The taco president?
Which, I've been to prison. Lock me up and throw away the key. Like, I will speak up to the day that I fucking die. This is an unjust administration. Like, it's just insane how far we've gotten away from the rule of law. Which brings us to what's on my top story, which is Greenland.
Yeah. You know.
Greenland push. This idea that we can acquire Greenland for its resources, whether they like it or not. Like, Greenland is already under the quote-unquote ownership of a sovereign nation, Denmark. We have no rights to Greenland.
Greenland's not its own country?
No.
I thought Greenland was its own country.
I mean, it is, but technically it's Denmark.
Which Denmark, coming up to another situation, has decided that it's going to pull off its military aid and everything from the Venezuela quote-unquote conflict. But acquiring Greenland, it's the same reason why we want to take over Venezuela, for resources and shit. And they're for resources that I believe are outdated. It's a grab for resources that we no longer really need to be pushing for. Oil.
This is something that I was talking about last night with my new friend, which is this idea that we still need oil to... Like, she was like, why are we still relying on oil? And I was like, because it's... She was like, because there's money in oil. And I was like, no, there's power in oil.
Yeah.
There's money in oil, but there's power in oil. And that's why we still rely on oil. People don't want to give up that money. They don't want to give up that power.
It's the empires. It's the corporations. It's the people that have obtained absolute immunity, that they don't need a passport to go anywhere in the world. They can buy their way through customs. You're absolutely right. It's power and resources, having resources. That's why green deals are being shot down left and right. No, windmills cause cancer. No, the fuck they don't. Solar energy, I mean, it kills birds. No, it doesn't. I mean, oil kills fucking living organisms. Oil spills destroy ecosystems.
What happened the last time we had a sun spill?
I mean, and if a bird is dumb enough to land on a damn solar panel and get fried, well, sorry, bird.
Last time we had a sun spill, it was just a really good day.
Yeah, it was just a cloudless day.
Last time we had a wind spill, it was just a windy day.
And even though I don't like the man, several years ago, Elon Musk came out and said that if we took the area, if you imagine, for example, for an instant, Oklahoma, the state of Oklahoma, and you know how Oklahoma is basically kind of shaped like a pot. Mm-hmm. If you took the handle and you took a quarter of that handle and you set up, and it might be a little bit more than a quarter, but I can't quite remember how much. But it's not even, I don't even think half. Even if it's half, it's a small little chunk of land. If you took that little section of land and put solar panels on there, you can empower the entire United States.
Is it just me, or did Elon Musk used to not be evil? Didn't like there was a time where he was just like...
No, I think Elon has always been evil, but he was trying to fight it there for a while.
He didn't always just be Darth Vader. He wasn't always Voldemort.
Come on. Do not insult Vader or Voldemort by comparing them to fucking Musk. How dare you? If you're going to compare Muck in Harry Potter, the evil woman.
Umbridge.
There you go. Musk is more like an Umbridge. Thinks they're powerful, but will always answer to somebody. And Musk, the only thing that Musk is really good at is buying his way into companies and then taking them over.
Yes, he did not invent Tesla.
No.
Like, let's just go ahead and put that out there. For those of
He
you
didn't
who don't
invent
know,
SpaceX either.
he did not invent Tesla. He did not invent SpaceX. These are companies he bought his way into.
I'm not even sure he invented PayPal.
He didn't.
Yeah, no, he just took daddy's bloody emerald money and bought his way into companies.
And then decided that he was the ruler of those companies.
Yeah, and
Like,
be like,
just like
yeah,
he
no,
wanted
my
to
company, you know, we're coming up with great innovations in my company, but you're not the fucking creator.
And most of those companies, like Twitter, he's running to the ground. Because he's not a good businessman.
Yeah, I will never call Twitter X.
No one's ever going to call Twitter X. It's fucking Twitter.
Always has been, always will be. Fuck you, Elon.
Well, I don't use Twitter anymore because of fucking Elon Musk.
To be honest with you, even before it changed hands, I didn't really use Twitter all that much because Twitter's always kind of, to me, been just a garbage dump.
Well, the Twitter is the one place where you can reasonably get to your idol.
Instagram, for me, has been that.
Your idols are noticeably smaller than other people's idols.
Even
You're
on,
not trying to get to Chris Hemsworth.
it's not hard to get to Chris Hemsworth on Instagram.
To get him to reply to you?
I've had Craftsman reply to me on Instagram.
Craftsman isn't Chris Hemsworth.
Craftsman's a fucking corporation.
Yes, so they have more.
I'm sure it definitely wasn't the CEO or anything, but I mean, like on one hand, I will say, and I'm definitely gonna like play devil's advocate for both arguments here. Like on one hand, why should they reply to you? Like, who are you?
I think they should. I'm just
But
saying
on the
that
other
Fox never
hand-
gets a lot of traction.
But on the other hand, it's like if you do, it definitely, because everything is about reputation, about, you know, showing, like saving face and shit like that, or whatever the fucking kids are calling it these days. Like, there is no reason, absolutely no reason at all, the Hemsworths, the Reynolds, the Emma Stones, and fucking
Cumberbatch.
I'm also trying to throw other fucking females in there. Jesus, you just keep naming off males, but females
I
are
named
just...
2 males.
Yeah, I named one female, and you have yet to fucking name one.
The Emma Watsons.
Thank you. The Tilda Swintons. They're just as important. Women are just as important as men, Brandy.
They are. I'm glad you pointed that out.
God. And then you needed a man to do it for you.
Apparently you are a feminist.
Yeah, I'm like an Alan Alda, but...
There's no reason they should reply to you?
There's absolutely no reason.
I mean, there isn't any reason. But that's why people use Twitter, is because there's a reasonable...
Yeah, but
Or it's more likely that Chris Hemsworth is going to see your tweet on Twitter.
You really want Chris Hemsworth to fucking...
No, so I use Chris Hemsworth because I once got this message from Chris Hemsworth.
That wasn't Chris Hemsworth?
It was not Chris Hemsworth. And I know this because he was like, yeah, I don't really use my public profile, but this is really Chris Hemsworth, and like, I'm talking to you now, and like, I want to be your friend, and he had like 3 friends on fucking Twitter. I'm like, you are not Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth has more than 3 fucking followers on Twitter.
And I love you, baby. I absolutely do. I adore you. But what the fuck? Why is Chris Hemsworth going to reach out to fucking you like that?
Well, but on Twitter, he reasonably could if I got a tweet that got enough attention.
Yes, but you'd have to get enough attention.
And tagging him, his people might see the tweet, therefore it might get enough attention.
Yeah, but what are you tweeting?
I'm not tweeting at all because I don't tweet on Twitter anymore. And it's fucking Twitter, not X. Let's just go ahead and make that point again.
Yeah. But no, the Greenland, back to the Greenland situation.
So, apparently, Greenland's been a part of Denmark for over 300 years. Initially as a colony, but since 1979 is an autonomous territory. So it is self-governed, but its defense and foreign policy comes from Denmark.
What's happening is with this Greenland situation and Venezuela is what I've seen as the new colonialism. Trump is definitely letting his Eastern European ancestry show because he's trying to get other countries. He's trying to get Poland in on it too, which is fucking baffling to me. He's trying to get Poland and Australia, and there's another country too that he's trying to form an axis. He's trying to pull a World War II. He's trying to get, obviously Putin's pulling his strings to relive the glory days of Russia in World War II and basically pick up where the fucking Nazis left off for world domination. And the UN needs to fucking step in and just slap the shit out of us, Putin, China, all these fucking big ass countries that are trying to be world rulers. Just be like, knock it the fuck off. US, stay the fuck out of Greenland and Venezuela. Russia, get the fuck out of Ukraine. China, leave Taiwan alone. If Taiwan wants to be its own fucking country, let it be its own country. Who gives a shit about a goddamn agreement?
So I'm going to play devil's advocate and say, where does that end? If every place wants to be its own separate country, where does that end with just a lot of very small countries?
I mean, I've also made the argument that there needs to be a lot less countries.
Who rules the new who rules Earth?
There's not one single person.
Because it is interesting that in all these sci-fis that we see, it's typically one ruler of a planet. One people united on a planet.
Well, I mean...
And I think we have to reach that goal before we actually realize...
Well, see, here's the thing, I think. Having a bunch of different little countries puts out too many ideas. Too many governments ruled on cultural differences. Because it opens the floodgates for countries to be ruled by religion.
Which you and I are against. We're against theocracy.
But consolidating... Now, I think what needs to happen is there needs to be a government that is ruled by a set of laws that are created based on the overall consensus of humanity.
Yes.
These things are wrong, bottom line. It doesn't matter what religion, it doesn't matter what culture, it doesn't matter. These things are wrong. And the government needs to adhere to that and also not be influenced. It has to have a set of checks and balances that simply go, okay, no. If you're trying to come in to rule under a theocratic ideology, nope, you cannot. It has to have safeguards against dictatorial leaders.
The United States is supposed to be.
Like the United States is supposed to be. To have a unified world government, and that's another thing too, all countries have to agree on not only just rules or laws, but currency. There needs to be one currency. There needs to be basically a unified agreement on how everybody can operate inside that society, inside that government. And when you have, take for instance, in Japan, their currency is the yen. 40 million yen. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it?
It's not.
It's about $9 grand. US dollars. And when you have such a discrepancy, you're looking up the, what's it called?
So, 40 lot more than $9,000.
How about you say that without covering your mouth?
40 million yen is a lot more than $9,000.
Well, how much is 40 million yen?
$253,000. $253,356.
All right, so maybe I should have said 40,000 yen. It's probably closer to what, because I was watching a woodworking video about one of my favorite Japanese carpenters, and I could have swore he said 40 million yen, but he could have said 40,000 yen. But even 40,000 yen compared to $9,000. Well, if 40 million is, would you say 250?
So 40,000 yen is $253.34.
250?
253,000 yen.
So it must have been like 400,000 yen because he bought this piece of equipment on Marketplace for like the equivalent of just a couple $1,000 US. And I was like, holy shit. So, but yeah, you look at Japan and they're like 400,000 yen. And you're like, holy shit, that sounds like a lot of money. No,
400,000 yen would be about $20,000.
I thought you said it was like 2,000.
No, that's 40,000. 400,000 would be 20,000.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, 40,000 yen. You know, $2,000. 40,000. No shit, $40,000 US dollars is a lot of fucking yen. So there definitely needs to be a unified currency. There needs to be a lot of unified, like, not only unified currency, but unified healthcare, unified education, unified agreement on like science, which for the most part, the world agrees on science until you add, you know, religion in. Yeah. But there's a lot of unifying things that need to happen before. But a different problem is you can't dismiss all the cultural differences. Just because you have a unification of certain things doesn't mean you can then go, no, you can't do greased up pig races in Sweden. No, you know, oh, because this area doesn't celebrate Christmas, now you can't. There's, you know, but we also got to like revisit history and be like, what is actually, and tell the truth about history. What is actually the meaning of these things? And nobody wants to have that conversation. But we're also getting off topic again because.
So to go back to money for a minute, like, have you heard of this buy nothing move? The move towards buying nothing?
No.
So it's a buy nothing movement where people are stepping out of the commercial system and bartering with what they have for what they need.
I mean, it worked for the longest time, not only in this country, but across the world. I mean, I've got a shitload of cheese. You've got meat. You want to trade some cheese for meat? I mean, I don't have cheese, but I can make you some furniture. You need furniture? I can make you that for your cheese or your meat or your spices.
Or your veggies.
Or your veggies. I got a shit ton of veggies, but I've got no house, or my house is falling apart. You're a tradesman. I tell you what, I will trade you some veggies, but also therein lies another problem with that too, because the value of labor, it's not difficult or it's not easy to grow, but it's not nearly as difficult to grow food as it is to do other things.
Takes a lot of veggies to build a house.
Takes a lot of veggies to build a house. It takes a lot of meat to get surgery. I broke my arm. I don't have any money. All I've got is 2 bushels of vegetables. Because then you've got to weigh in, and this is where the empathy and compassion comes in. So this person over here is poor. They work. They spend their days in the field with crops, but they don't have a whole lot. This person over here has a lot. They have gold, they have silver and all this. But their they don't need as much medical attention as this person over here. Now, do I charge this person over here that's poor more and just drive them into destitute? That's where the whole empathy and compassion comes in, because you have to be like, all right, this person, yes, they can't pay as much as this person over here with their shiny rocks that are kind of meaningless.
Yeah.
So, because then you'll have the people with shiny rocks and whatnot going, wow, you didn't charge them nearly as much for that as you did me. Well, guess what? You can afford it. They can't. Well, that's not fair. Fairness is a construct that humans created. There's no such thing as fairness. The universe doesn't operate in fairness. It doesn't give a fuck about fairness. It doesn't give a fuck about justice. It does not give a...
Which brings us back to that point that my coworker made, which is we've stopped caring about each other. And that's the problem. So if we cared about each other, then I, as a medical person, could provide you, as a vegetable grower, with medicine, even though you can't pay what the person with the shiny rocks pays.
You, as a medical person, should be able to provide the same amount of medical treatment to the vegetable grower as you should with the person with the gold, but the person with the gold is somehow convinced you that that gold is more valuable than that vegetable. You can't eat the gold.
No.
I mean, you can,
but even taking away the gold, right? Like meat that's worth more than vegetables. And
well, it all some vegans would argue against that.
For most people, in most situations, meat is more profitable than it's worth more than vegetables. But I should be able to provide the person who owns a cow with the exact same medical, or I should be able to afford the person with the carrots the same medical treatment that I would afford the person with the cow, because they're humans and everyone deserves medical treatment.
And sometimes you grow the food that the cows eat too. And
one of the first things that we look at to see if people had civilization when we look at fossils and bones is, did they treat wounds, which is medical. Like, did they have medical treatment? Did they bind their wounds? Did they treat a broken ankle? Or did they just leave that person to perish? Well, the first time for civilization was they treated that broken ankle. They cared for that person with the sickness. So I think we've lost our civilization in this midst of civilization.
But, all right. You got anything else on Denmark?
No, just that we don't own it, and we can't own it, and it's not ours to take.
Yeah, and it'd be a war crime to take it. But, segue into my next one, which is kind of funny. SNAP funding.
Okay.
Federal SNAP, food stamps, is at risk, prompting lawsuits and emergency measures in states across the country. And it's funny. Well, it's not funny, but it's a bit ironic that the states that are being affected the most are red states.
Yeah. They don't vote with their interest.
No, they vote with whatever is shiny on the TV and speaks to their biases and bigotry.
Yeah, they vote with their hatred.
Yeah. And
their hatred of the other.
Right now, hell, Tennessee, our state, is facing a SNAP crisis. So in the state that sits in the, it's not the buckle, but it's definitely in the belt, the Bible Belt, that is doing things that are preventing people and kids from getting food and surviving, apparently have forgot to read their Bible. It's very clear that people in the Bible Belt do not read the red parts of the Bible.
Yeah.
They do not read the words of Jesus.
Jesus was very woke.
Jesus wasn't woke. Jesus was human. He was just a man that was just like, hey, we need to make sure that everybody is taken care of. Jesus was a fucking socialist.
He was a socialist. He spoke against the pharaohs.
I mean, his whole little, for lack of a better word, tantrum at the fucking merchants, where he overturned merchants' tables and shit like that, and was basically like, you should all be ashamed of yourself. I'm charging people so much money for these goods and wares.
Usury.
Yeah. But
he was very much against usury. Like, you're not, if you're a Christian, you're not supposed to charge an interest on a loan.
Yeah, no, don't point that out. They don't like it when you actually point out Jesus to them.
They don't. They get very upset.
No, but that's all I got. Well, so what's your next one?
So I think we're only probably going to get to our top 5 stories of the week. But, so this is actually a good one. So Trump proposed a 10% cap on credit card interest rates.
I mean, a broken clock is
right twice a day.
Right twice a day.
That is one of his times for being right twice a day, because I am with you on
just like I'm with him with he said no tax on overtime. As much as I hate the man, there are sometimes when he says things or does things that I'm just like, you know what? Okay, I can get behind this.
It's like Marcia to the Green lately. Like lately, I've been on the right side of history with her, and I'm like, this feels uncomfortable, but yes.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
still against you on the space lasers thing, the Jewish space lasers. I don't think that's a problem, but I don't think that
10% interest cap on credit cards. I mean, I also feel like that's like a piggyback on when Obama basically said you cannot charge overdraft fees on overdrafts fees. Because I don't know if you remember back in the day, like if you overdrafted and you didn't pay up immediately, you weren't able to, square up on that, they would tack another overdraft.
Yeah.
And they would just keep compounding overdraft fees so that basically you can never get out.
There's a daily overdraft fee.
And then Obama came in and was like, no, you got to stop that shit.
You can do one overdraft fee.
Yeah. If they overdraft again, you can hit them with it. But if they overdraft and they're looking to clear it, no, you're one and done.
Yeah.
You can't overdraft on an overdraft.
Yeah.
So, I feel like that's a piggyback. Trump's whole administration and policy is piggybacking off of somebody else. Everything that he's done is something that somebody's already done. And even the tactics, like the whole Venezuela thing, is a tactic that Bush Sr. did in Panama.
True.
Hell, make America great again. That whole slogan was Reagan and Bush.
Well, Trump has an original idea in his entire life. Like, he cheated his way through business school, so of course he's going to cheat his way through his presidency. I personally, and I was talking about this last night, I don't understand how we got here. Like, we have gotten to a place where we just do not care about our fellow human being to a point that I do not understand. With racism, with misogyny, like I feel like incels are getting stronger and more out there. I feel like racism's getting stronger and more out there. And I just do not understand it. I don't understand the hatred of a person based on who they are instead of what they do.
I mean, this is tribalism.
Like, I'm not against hating people. Like, hate people. Hate people all you want, but hate them for what they literally do to you, to humanity as a whole. And incels, I'm talking to you right now, not fucking you isn't something that they're doing.
So, I had a thought the other day, and I'm probably going to catch some shit for this, but like, there are very few groups of people that you can say all of them are bad.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm ever in a conversation with somebody and somebody ever says something like, all black people are bad or all white men are bad or you know, something like that, I immediately go, okay, there is nothing that further that you can add to this that I'm going to take you seriously with. Because, like,
all details are bad.
But I will say, to me, there are very few groups of people. If you have to tack on like an ethnic label or a religious label or things like that on it, then I'm out. All rapists are bad.
All rapists are bad.
All pedophiles are bad.
All pedophiles are bad.
All racists are bad.
All racists are bad.
Those.
I would say all incels are bad. I would say all neo-Nazis are bad.
Racist.
That's a specific kind of racist. But
it's still racist.
It's still racist. Alright, I'll give you that one. Because there's very few groups of people where I would say that they're all bad. And it's basically on what you do, not who you are as a person. Yeah.
So whenever I hear somebody chime in that all this group of people are bad, and it's based on who they are, not what they do, I immediately just look at that person like, I don't go, well, not all of them. I just look at that person and go, no, there is nothing of value that you can add to any argument that I'm going to sit here and take seriously.
Yeah.
Because if you want to say, you know, I'm just going to say it. If you're going to sit there and say all white men are bad, I'm going to be like, what about Fred Rogers? What about Bernie Sanders? What about Bob Ross?
There are lots of white men that aren't bad.
And also, if you're going to say a bunch of, you know, all black men are thugs, what about Martin Luther King Jr.? What about LeVar Burton? It's like, no. Not all groups of people based on who they are bad. Or, you know, what they look like.
Yeah.
What they do, if you're a rapist, nope, you're bad.
Very much about judging people by the content of their character, not by what they look like or who they fuck, or I don't care who you fuck. I don't care what you look like. I care what you do, who you are as a person. And
I think that's the biggest part of our programming is people are still hell-bent. Well, people are still being convinced that your appearance is an automatic judgment. That's why we're still having, you know, conversations like all trans people are bad. Like, why?
Oh my God, this came up at work the other day, and my coworker made the best point when someone said, well, I don't want men dressed as women going into the bathroom with my niece. And my coworker, my new coworker, who I fucking love, said, well, go in the bathroom with your niece. Solves that problem. Instead of infringing on someone's right to go pee, go to the bathroom with your niece if you're so concerned.
And also, how do you know that that dude didn't dress up as a woman is actually a dude dressed up as a woman?
Well, to them, it doesn't matter. A trans person is just a dude dressed up as a woman.
And do you notice how, like, automatically, though, in that situation, everybody's always like, no, it's the men that are going to be the perverts and stuff like that. That should speak to you right there, too. It's never, oh, the women dressed in men as men going into
because that's less likely.
Males' bathrooms.
The majority of sexual perverts are men.
Yeah. And that's a fucking problem. And nobody wants to address the fucking root cause of the problem. They just want to...
The fact that there are, like, sexual perverts. And we should do something about the sexual pervert. But...
not all sexual perverts are men. Jesus.
But we should leave the trans people alone because they just want to go pee. Like, it's just pee. Like, let somebody go pee. And besides, what are you doing in the bathroom that you need privacy? Besides just, like, there's stalls. In the American system, there are stalls.
And they're now starting to, well, there used to be, and I didn't even like this, like when they made the stalls, there was the cracks around the stalls so people can see you. And like you couldn't take a shit with like somebody like pop in, but like nobody wants to fucking sit there taking a shit and all of a sudden see eyeballs. But I've noticed the last couple times, because now, like as an adult and for several years, I don't give a damn. I'll walk in to a bathroom and take a shit. I don't care. All I care is that toilet seat's fucking clean. And if I'm sitting there dropping a deuce, all of a sudden I see a set of eyeballs, I'm just like, what? But I've noticed now that they've started making the stalls where it overlaps, where you can't see.
Which we should do. We need like total privacy in our stalls, and I get the privacy in the stalls. My point is though, like, what are you doing outside the stalls that you need total privacy, that you can't have a man or a woman see what you're doing? Like, why are you changing? Like, if you're changing in a bathroom, why are you not changing in a stall?
I mean, it brings us back to the point that people don't have empathy or compassion more. And people want to be, they want their own self-hatred to be justified and projected, because people who have self-hatred want other people to feel as miserable as they do, instead of working on themselves to make themselves better and happier. They want to take the easier route and just make everybody as miserable as they are, so that they don't have to deal with their own bullshit.
I used to have a client like that back when my relationship counseling, my relationship coaching days. He was so miserable as a person. He wanted everyone else to be miserable with him, and didn't understand why people didn't want to be with him. And I'm like, it's because you're a miserable person. It's not because of the way you look. It's not because of anything else. It's because you're a miserable person who doesn't want other people to be happy because you're not happy.
And who the fuck wants to be, like, if you put two miserable people together, that's not, it doesn't seem fun to me.
It's not. I've seen those relationships. It's not fun.
Like, if you were miserable and trying to make me miserable, no. I'd be like, no, I'm out.
No, when I'm miserable, I want to keep it to myself.
But, all right, folks.
You got anything else?
No, I think we've ranted and raved and all that stuff for long enough. We didn't get through top 10, but
we got to the top 5. So that is all we have for you today. Be sure to like and subscribe. We are on all the podcast places, and we're all over social media like herpes.
Love you, bye.